Welcome to Power Hour. Today we are doing offensive line, the boys in the trenches, the boys that don't get enough respect.
The boys that do the dirty work.
They get their hands dirty, and they're like the blue
They don't get
collar
all the
of
glory.
team.
They don't get all the glory and the fame, but they're the reasons a lot of offenses succeed.
Yeah. But I have one question for you. Can you feel it?
I feel the power.
Can you feel it?
I feel it.
This is Power Hour.
Power Hour. It's our 4th Power Hour episode.
Yeah.
Offensive line, like Kale said. Following this one, we will do defense and special teams together.
As one.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, this one was probably the toughest one so far for me to do. I don't pay as much attention to offensive line maybe as some of the skill positions and stuff like that, but had to do a little more research, and so don't have a whole lot of not as descriptive as the previous 3, but we're gonna make it work today. So
yeah, don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias. Keep up to date with us. We do appreciate you guys tuning in, taking the time to listen to our personal takes on stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that's fine too. You could always let us know too. If you think Sam's doing a bad job, I'm doing a bad job.
Yeah.
How was your day? How was your week?
Day was good. It's Monday. One of those days. I mean, I just got done lifting, so I came straight here from the gym. Some interesting things that happened in the NFL world today.
CeeDee Lamb getting that contract.
CeeDee Lamb finally got his contract extension. The Chiefs signed Juju.
Jerry Jones finally took his meds.
Jerry Jones finally wised up.
Yeah.
Juju got signed by the Chiefs yet again. You told me Tim Patrick got cut.
Yep.
By the Broncos, so that's some of these things could have affected our receivers list, but too late now.
The Lions cut Daniel People-Jones or
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I don't know. I think.
And the Packers got quarterback Malik Willis in a trade with the Titans,
which was kind of surprising, but like considering their backup area is not very good.
Sean Clifford is not good. Michael Pratt has shown better flashes than Clifford, so I could see him being third string or practice squad and Malik Willis being the primary backup to Jordan Love. And, I'm not too surprised Tennessee traded Malik Willis just because they got Will Levis, the starter, and they have Mason Rudolph now, I think, as their backup, as their primary backup. So
Rudolph lasted in the league a lot longer than I thought he would.
Yeah, he didn't do too bad down the stretch for the Steelers last season, leading them to the playoffs.
Yeah, he doesn't.
They got beat by the Bills in the first round.
He got tired. He got tired of Myles Garrett, so he's like, I ain't gonna get my head beat again.
Yeah, that's right. So we're
gonna go ahead and get into it, starting from 32 all the way to 1. Now these are based off our own opinions.
That's right. You want to start it, Kill, or you want me?
I'll start it.
Go for it.
The good old laptop here.
Just got it on my phone here.
At number 32, I have the New York Giants.
New York Giants, okay.
The last few years they have not been pretty good. So,
I mean, it's almost like
all they've done in the last 2 years is add a new center, which is his past free agency, and he's an all right player, but he ain't gonna.
Right.
One guy ain't gonna cut it.
Well, you just think about how good a specific offense has been in recent years. Their offensive line has probably not been that good either.
No.
They're synonymous with each other. Like, if an offense is productive, more likely than not, they have at least a half-decent O-line. And the Giants have not been that. I mean, 2022, okay, but usually not that great. I got the Patriots at number 32. I just think Patriots have not done well on any of these lists for me so far. Their running back was okay. Quarterback was low. Receivers were last. And offensive line, I have them in last. Again, it's synonymous with how their offense has been really ever since Brady left. They've had some flashes here and there with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, but his rookie year. But outside of that, I mean, going into this year, it's not looking pretty for them. So I got Patriots at 32.
Patriots just keep getting slammed by us.
Honestly, man, I mean, they're not doing themselves any favors either, though.
No. You want to go ahead and give your number 30, 31?
31, I've got Washington Commanders.
Kind of surprised by that one.
I mean, they've struggled keeping quarterbacks upright in recent years. I mean, you think about last year. I mean, Sam Howell was fairly durable, but like the past couple seasons before that, Carson Wentz was their primary guy. He went down. Before that year, it was Ryan Fitzpatrick. He went down, and Taylor Heineke kind of had to shoulder the load for them at quarterback. But yeah, Washington Commanders at 31. 31, Kale.
I have the Cardinals. Last year they added a tackle. He didn't do too bad. This year they also had added another tackle, but he's going to come over to the right side versus the other one's going to play the left side.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. There's not much to say about them. It's the Cardinals. As long as they
and they have a mobile quarterback in Kyler Murray.
Yep.
And that can help. Like if you have a lackluster offensive line, if you have a quarterback who can move around, that makes it a little bit easier to kind of, I guess, hide those weaknesses within the O-line. If you have a quarterback who can scramble around and avoid the pressure a little bit. At 30, I've got the Giants. Again, you really hit on it pretty good earlier with your 32 ranking. Going into this year, offensively, there's just not a lot going for them outside of rookie wideout Malik Neighbors. So that's my number 30. What do you got at 30?
Who's your 31?
Commanders.
Oh, yeah. New England. They've only added 2 players on the team, from Caden Wallace and that cast off from Steelers. I can't remember his name, but it's a weird name.
One of those weird names. I know this. Kind of looking at some of the names for some of these O linemen, it's like O linemen specifically, they have some weird names. 29. I got Tennessee Titans. Just another team that's. I mean, they got some guys on the outside at receiver, but there's a reason why Derrick Henry wanted out of there, and offensive line was kind of a part of it. They don't really have the winning culture they had a few years ago. They're kind of sus at QB, but it's that O line too. I mean, if you don't have a good O line blocking for you, and you're an older running back now, it's gonna make it tough. So. It's no surprise for me. So
I have the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cowboys, like we talked about the other day when we were doing the wide receivers, they've been known over the years to have hell of a deep offensive line.
Yeah.
Zach Martin, when he was there, I don't know if he still is. I thought he might have retired for some reason.
Look that up.
They have, Tyron Smith, and they got Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton.
He's still there.
Yeah. But, and again.
I have the Cowboys a decent amount higher, but I agree. They've definitely not as good as they once were.
I look at it,
They used to be top 5,
I look at it as too, it's like Jerry Jones. What is Jerry Jones doing as an owner and a GM?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, I think we all know that Jerry Jones doesn't make a lot of moves until Jerry wants to move.
He'll be the first to let you know he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes, does he really know what he's doing?
Right.
Look how long it took him to get the CD Lamb extension. He didn't even sound like he wanted to re-sign him because it's just more money out of his pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 27, I had Seattle Seahawks.
Did you skip 28?
No, yeah. Number 28, I had The Commanders. You hit it pretty well. They really haven't added a whole lot this year.
No.
Last few years they haven't really been doing very well. They just always see the quarterback either getting hurt or scrambling.
Dating back to the days of RG3.
You're gonna give them PTSD.
I got the Saints at 28.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they just, again, it's one of those teams that struggled a little bit more offensively. Alvin Kamara is great, but he still hasn't rushed for over 1,000 yards in a year. And even late in Drew Brees' career, he was fighting some injuries, struggling to stay upright. Part of that had to do with their O-line. So I have the Saints at 28.
At 27, I have the Seahawks. They added Laken Thompson and Nick Harris, I think his name is. Yeah, Nick Harris.
Right.
And, they didn't really have much on the offensive line. They pretty much, it seems like they've had the same units forever.
They're loaded at the skill positions, but they lack in the O-line department.
Yes.
I agree with that. I got the Raiders at 27. They're just kind of struggling all over offensively. So, really the only bright spot going for them is one, Devontae Adams, and an interesting rookie in Brock Bowers. But outside of that, the rest of it is just kind of, we'll see. I do like Antonio Pierce at head coach, though, for them. 26, I got the Cardinals, though. You had them a little earlier. You kind of hit the nail on the head.
Nail in the coffin.
But the same thing with, I'll bring up Kyler Murray, when you have a weaker offensive line, when you have a quarterback that can move around a little bit better, it kind of hides those weaknesses a little bit more. So that's at least something that they got going for them. And they got a decent unit of skill guys with James Conner at running back, Marvin Harrison Jr., at their number one wideout, Trey McBride at tight end. But, that could mask some of their problems at offensive line. But I got the Cardinals at 26. What about you, Kale?
I have the Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, Tennessee Titans. They haven't been the same since Taylor Lewan.
True.
Their tackle position on the left side is god awful. Last year, I think they ranked last.
Yeah.
They added somebody in the draft, but how much is one person? JC Litham. But that's just one rookie trying to improve the whole offensive line.
Yeah, true.
So who else is going to take? But they should have never gotten rid of Taylor Lewan. And I'm not trying to be an ass kisser because we're busting with the boys and I enjoy the podcast. He's a skilled offensive lineman.
Yeah, he wouldn't play right now though. He's lost too much weight.
Yeah,
he's like skinny now.
I think he's more focused on his podcast.
Yeah,
which is fine.
He was a great, left tackle, but he is not built like that anymore.
No,
he's definitely, those days are definitely behind him. But in his playing days, he was a dog.
Although he went to Michigan.
Yeah, I know.
I hate Michigan.
25. I got the Seahawks. Kind of like I talked about earlier, they seem to have it made at the skill positions, even at quarterback with Geno Smith. Whether or not what you think about him, he's done solid the last couple of years. Good running backs, good receivers. They struggle on the offensive line though, but the good skill positions kind of mask it. So 24, or excuse me, you can do 25.
I have Miami.
Miami.
Yeah. Their offensive line's not very healthy.
No.
And
that's another team that
I kind of look at it. I mean, how many years ago it was? 2 years ago that Tua had back-to-back concussions. And they really haven't improved on it.
A lot of these teams, like Miami's another one that is solid at the skill positions, but weak in the core where it matters.
Like Mike McDaniels can coach. He's proven that. He needs to get, they need to figure out what they need to do.
Prioritize the O-line a little bit more. Yeah. 25, I got 24, I got the Panthers. Again, another unit that struggles offensively. Bryce Young is small. Kind of surprised he lasted the whole year last year. There's a little bit of time there where the backup Andy Dalton had to come in and play. But the thing about him too is he's small, but he's not the best runner. I don't know. We'll see. But I got the Panthers at 24.
I have the Saints. You know, they kind of got hit hard a little bit with one of the guards retiring over the off season.
Yeah.
And then they got one of those dudes out of the draft, but Fuga.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't think he's going to transitioning well.
No.
Or whoever the starting one is. I can't remember. I keep seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't see them doing a whole lot. Number 23, I have the Bills. You know?
Okay.
When it comes to, like, big time plays, they struggle. Mm-hmm. They struggle.
Especially now. They will.
They haven't done anything in the offseason to change it. So I don't think they're going to move anywhere on my list for when we do the mid-season deal.
That's true. And that because of that, they might struggle to run the ball with James Cook and stuff like that.
And, you know, Josh Allen's going to have to scramble, and, you know, that's how Josh Allen gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's great at it, but sooner or later, he's going to get hurt, like, badly.
Yeah.
23, I got the Steelers. I mean, last couple of years, they've been playing musical chairs at quarterback. They can't stay healthy. They can't keep their quarterbacks upright. You know, so it kind of they haven't really changed much going into this year. Then another one of those cases where they got some studs at skill positions, running back and receiver, but can't seem to find the answer at offensive line. 22, I got the Ravens. I think they might be a little more underrated, but they still just they get blinded by, or they get some of their struggles get blinded by the talent they have with Lamar and the outside weapons, all the speed they have.
When teams hear Ravens, they think of Lamar and now Derrick Henry, and
they think of smash mouth football, defense, run the ball, Lamar.
Yep.
Which usually is synonymous with a strong O line, but
I can guarantee you that when we do our defense, they're going to probably have a way better defense on our rankings than
they're going to be in the top 5 or top 10 probably. Yeah. 22, Kale.
Steelers. You know, they're expected, you know, they got some 3 first or second year players coming back, so there's a little bit of experience there.
Yeah.
You know, they got Zach Frazier, Trey Fontenot, Broderick Jones. You know, they got a strong foundation for the future. They just need, like we keep talking about on these power hours, they need the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Who can be the guy to throw the ball?
For the Steelers, yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly
Russ or Fields.
Or whoever. If those two don't work out.
Kyle Allen, I think, is their third string.
Oh, jeez.
21, I got the Dolphins. You pretty much hit the nail on the head with them pretty strongly earlier. I don't really need to go into much more detail there. 20, or who's your 21?
Panthers. You know, the Panthers are just terrible.
Yeah.
You see how many times Bryce Young had to get out of pocket and still couldn't make a good throw?
They haven't much done anything in recent years to really plead their case to be a solid team. No. Especially offensively.
No.
You know, Deontay Johnson, woo. They went out and got one receiver who's fringe number 1, maybe.
Yeah. Well, they also had DJ Shark, who was good in Detroit. Which, I don't know why he left, but he did.
Yeah.
He just never capitalized on it. Moving on, number 20. The Bucks. They're probably the worst run block teams.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much telling because Rashad White, even though he finished, I think, just 10 yards short of 1,000 last year, his yards per carry average was like below 4.
They did add
mid threes, I
they
think.
they did add a guard in the offseason, and they drafted a center.
Yeah.
So that should help.
Number 20, I actually had the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence getting hurt last season is a telltale sign of that too. Like the Jaguars were on top of the AFC before he got hurt, and then when he came back, it was just too late, and he was still kind of banged up. So I'd say the Jaguars, even with Travis Etienne Jr. opening up running lanes for him last year, like he still had a productive year, but a lot of that is because he's also effective as a receiver as well. And so, yeah, I got the Jaguars at 20. At 19, I've got the Broncos.
19?
Yeah. At 19, I got the Broncos.
Okay.
So, even the last couple of years, they struggled to protect Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson gets a lot of the blame for how poorly they've done the past couple of years, but a lot of that time he's running for his life. They can't keep running backs healthy. Javonte Williams has been banged up. So yeah, I've got Broncos at 20 or 19.
I have the Raiders. You shaped like an egg still.
Need not we say anymore.
You know, they lost their starting tackle. They have someone that can fill.
Yeah.
But is he going to do it well?
Right.
You know, so I think if they can't figure out that tackle spot, that whole unit right there is screwed.
Yeah.
So they need to go out, get a tackle, see if this guy can improve, move some people around. If they don't, then like I said, they're screwed. Number 18. Ravens. I have the Ravens. They have 3 new starters on that offensive line.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that.
Yeah. So it's going to be
that's worth noting. 3 new starters. That might be a challenge.
So they might sometimes may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Sometimes I may be good, sometimes I may be cheat.
I guess
I got the Bears at 18. Kind of the running story with them is, again, they've really done a great job at building around Caleb Williams with talented skill guys, but their offensive line has been a big question mark the last couple of years, even with Justin Fields there. Whoever it is. I mean, yeah, he's done a great job running. Quarterbacks having good running success isn't really synonymous with a great offensive line, though, because a lot of that is scrambling, avoiding pressure. Caleb Williams, he can move. He's more of a pocket passer than Fields, though. Have they added anyone? I mean, I'm not really sure. So, they're probably going to be improved from the past couple of years, but it's up in the air on how they actually do or not. So, but they are a team that might have the skill positions to mask it a little bit. I still don't see them winning a whole lot of games this year, though, for the playoffs. 17, I have the Buccaneers. And I have them ranked a little higher than 18. You. What?
I didn't do 18.
I thought you did. I thought you did the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, I did. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I had the Buccaneers at 17. You hit the nail on the head earlier. You obviously follow offensive line a lot more than I do. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Who do you got at 17?
I has the 49ers.
Rare weakness for them. Probably the biggest weakness on their team because everywhere else they're stacked.
Even though they got the best tackle, the left tackle,
Trent Williams, yeah. But everything else is kind of a hot mess.
They have a good pass block.
Trent Williams kind of masks the
entire
problems
offense.
they have on the rest of the line, and
Yeah.
so do the rest of their skill position guys. Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk,
Purdy now.
Purdy, being a now a seasoned vet. I actually have the 49ers at 16, starting the top half of the rankings. So, yeah, we already kind of talked about that. So, who do you got at 16?
Chargers.
Okay. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
The unit should really improve with that new draft pick of Joe Alt. So,
yeah,
who should, I think, is replacing for Trey Pipkins.
Pipkins.
So that should be a good little deal there. Number 15. Texans.
Okay. And see, we're starting to get into the higher rankings now, so you're going to start hearing more positive things.
Laremy Tunsil, he remains elite. He's probably still one of the best left tackles in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And
great job of protecting C.J. Stroud last year.
There is an abundance of room for them to improve this year. So,
yep,
I think they're going to do it.
I got the Bills at 15. I think they're a little bit better than kind of where you ranked them. I just think they did a good job of finally establishing a running game last year with James Cook and opening up holes for him to run through, and keeping Josh Allen protected after developing said running game. They finally found a solid identity with their O-line and their offense as a whole. And hopefully it continues for them going into this season because they're going to need it because they've lost some firepower at the receiver position. So 14, I got the Chargers, though. And, like you said, Joe Alt, whatever, he should make a big improvement to their unit on the O-line. And they're going to need it. Again, they're another team that's lost a lot of firepower on the outside and in the backfield. We'll see what they can do. But, yeah, I got the Chargers at 14. Go ahead, Kale. 14.
You go ahead.
14. I already did 14.
Oh.
Did my Chargers. You had Chargers at 15. You want me to do my 13?
No, because I'm
lost.
No, I thought I feel like I'm missing a team.
13, I got the Bengals. They're not great. They've struggled keeping Burrow upright at times, but outside of that, I mean, they've been a productive offense in recent years, and typically when an offense is productive, you have at least a halfway decent offensive line. So, Bengals at 13, middle of the pack. Got it figured out yet? Some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The Vikings.
Vikings at 14?
I was trying to figure out who the fuck was I missing. I had every team, and I was like...
You had Vikings at 14?
Yeah, because I put the Bears twice by accident.
I have Vikings a lot higher, but nice.
They had an all right offensive line. Not great, not bad. It was a steady offensive line. Yeah. But I look at it, so I can't really say that this is on them, but like if a quarterback goes down with a big injury like he did,
it falls back on the O-line.
Yeah.
It does.
They let the player in.
It don't really matter if they were scrambling, if they're way out of the pocket or whatever. Like, O-line's job is to protect the quarterback at the end of the day.
So, and I have not really seen much improvement from their team within the free agency and everything. So True. I'm kind of curious how in this year they're going to do with Sam Darnold since McCarthy's out.
Yeah.
McCarty, I mean.
Huh?
McCarty, not McCarthy.
It's McCarthy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's McCarthy. Who do you got at 13?
The Broncos.
Okay.
Like you were saying about how protecting Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But again, you also got to think too. Russell Wilson brought a lot of pressure on himself.
He did, but he gets a lot of the blame for the last couple of years, and a lot of that time he's running for his life because of a piss poor O line. Number 12, I got the Cowboys. I know you had them ranked a lot lower. I think they're still a halfway solid unit. They're not great like they used to be. They're not blowing open holes in the running game, but they protect Dak well enough that he can get the ball to his playmakers and have an All-Pro year, second team All-Pro year, second place MVP. And so going into this year, I think they'll still be solid. Again, I think it'll be a struggle. They don't blow open holes in the run game like they used to, and they don't really have the guys in the backfield like they used to. So running the ball is going to be a struggle for them this year, and that might make their offense struggle just that alone. But we'll see. Who do you got at 12, Kale?
I have Bengals.
Okay, you have them one spot above where I have them.
They added a veteran, then they added a first-round draft pick. But they need to start working on that left side again because Orlando Brown, he might not be cutting it no more.
Yeah,
so
true. He's getting up there. 11. I got the Texans. You kind of nailed it perfectly. Laramie Tunsil, left tackle. Great job protecting C.J. Stroud last year. Helped him win a Offensive Rookie of the Year. Dang near was an MVP candidate. So great year out of him, and I just see them improving, just kind of capitalizing on last year. So that's what I got at 11.
Number 11, I have the Rams.
The Rams.
They added Jonah Jackson from Detroit. He was a stud for us. Wish he never left, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just find it ironic and kind of hurts to say, "Oh, I'm going to stay here forever," and then all of a sudden, hey, fuck you, I'm out.
Seems like the Rams get all the Lions has-beens.
The Ryans, the Ramlins.
The Detroit Rams.
The Detroit Rams.
After Stafford went there and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We're into our top 10 now. Yeah. Who do you got at 10, Kale?
I have the Chiefs. Despite winning the Super Bowl last year, you'd think I would have this team's O-line ranked higher. Wrong. The reason I ranked them where I did is because they had their struggles of protecting Patrick Mahomes for pass blocking. Just seems like Mahomes had ran out of pocket more often than he usually should last season. I know that they have the best center in the league,
yes,
but
they got some studs on the O-line.
I know they had the best center in the league, but one person can't do it all. Yeah. Again, you can come at me for this one, but small things matter.
They got some studs on the O-line. I got them ranked a bit higher, but
it's one of their tackles though. It just
Yeah. Creed Humphrey is a great center. Definitely the best in the league now since Jason Kelce retired. Number 10, I got the Jets. Last year, obviously, they were atrocious. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers going down 4 plays into the season. They've done a lot to kind of bolster that unit this offseason. And they start out my top 10. And, all signs are pointing to them having a solid year offensively should it all go according to plan. So, yeah, I got the Jets at number 10.
Number 9, I have the Bears. Chicago has a pretty solid line. They signed Shelton from the Rams during the offseason, which is a huge get for them. If there's one thing that will help make Caleb shine his rookie year, it would be the offensive line right here.
I got that was your number 10?
Yep.
Or your 9?
9.
I got the Falcons. They've kind of made some improvements going into this season. And they have a better, they have a better quarterback, I guess, which they better be able to protect him because it's Kirk Cousins. He got hurt last year. You can blame that on the Vikings O-line. They can keep him protected. He gets the ball to they have some explosive playmakers. Again, we've talked about the Falcons a lot. They have the potential to have a very explosive offense this year if things go according to plan. Number 8, I have the Colts. Gosh, the Colts have one of the best O linemen in the league at tackle. I forgot his name. What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
The Colts offensive tackle. He's like one of the best in the game.
I think I wrote it down too.
That's not who it is.
Bernhard.
That's not who. No, he's a guard. Quentin Nelson. That's what I'm thinking of. Quentin Nelson, one of the best offensive linemen in the game. And he leads that unit. And yeah, Anthony Richardson got hurt last year, but Gardner Minshew, I think that's more of a Richardson getting hurt. I think that's more on him being that style of quarterback, running the ball, trying to be a physical runner.
I realized they're on my list. I didn't say anything about the Jaguars, but they were pretty close to it anyway. So
you have them up pretty high?
No.
Oh. Okay. Well, again, back to the Colts. Anthony Richardson having gotten hurt last year. I don't think that's so much on their line as much as it is on his style as a quarterback, being a runner, physical runner, trying to break tackles back to his days in college. That's kind of how he did it. And because Minshew stayed healthy pretty much all year after Richardson went down. So they did a good job keeping Gardner Minshew healthy. And if Anthony Richardson can become more comfortable in the pocket, I think that they'll do a good job of keeping him upright as well, and also blowing open holes for star running back Jonathan Taylor. So I got the Colts at 8. Who do you got at 8, Kale?
Packers.
Okay.
I think they could be a little bit better, but I mean, they still got John Runyon. I call him the Runyon Funyon. But no, he was splitting time too at the end of the season. I know you know that.
Yeah. They have one of the most versatile O linemen, Elton Jenkins.
Yeah, didn't you guys draft an O lineman? And I told you got upset.
Jordan Morgan. He's going to start at guard for us, even though he was a tackle in college, which I think is kind of weird.
But hey, I mean, he could have played guard at one point.
He could have. I mean, if you're an O lineman, you should be able to play anywhere on the line except maybe center because you have to snap it. But I don't know. Guard's one thing, tackle's another thing. It takes a certain skill set for each, but your best offensive lineman can play anywhere. And like I said, Elton Jenkins. Well, the Packers are. Well, I'll get to that when I get to it. I got the Packers a little higher. I got the Vikings at 7 though, and you kind of touched on that pretty well. Vikings. I mean, even though Cousins got hurt last year again, that does fall back on them. It'll be interesting to see. I think they have a solid unit though, offensively, just all around. I think they have the pieces. It just comes down to quarterback, really, if Darnold can get it done for them this year. And then go ahead with your number 7.
Jets.
Nice.
They're keeping Tyron Smith healthy, so
yeah. So I got the Packers at 6.
I think. Oh, I will say though, I think they're gonna have one of the most improved lines this year.
The Jets, for sure. I got the Packers at 6. One thing I wanted to say is, I think they have one of the most versatile offensive lines in the league, meaning like a lot of their guys can play multiple positions on the line. And I brought up Elton Jenkins, Billy Turner, their center that they drafted a couple years ago, Jake. I forgot his name. He played at Ohio State with Justin Fields. And then, they drafted Jordan Morgan in the first round. I was kind of disappointed in that pick, not going to lie. But maybe he'll do good. Zach Tom at tackle. I need to look up the name of that center.
Uno momento, please.
Josh Myers. That's who it is. So Josh Myers has done a solid job as our starting center since joining the team.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't want Bakhtiari anymore.
Got rid of Bakhtiari. I mean, he was nothing but just he wasn't doing anything for us.
Anymore.
I don't think he's even on a team.
No, he was a good player.
He was a great player.
Injury player.
Great player, but he got hurt and he was never back, and it was just more of a cap hit than anything.
What are we doing at this point?
Kind of deal. So he was great when he was healthy. One of the best offensive linemen the Packers have had. We've had some good ones too. But yeah, he was a solid left tackle. Who do you got at 6?
So since I messed up the Jaguars talk, mine's kind of off a little bit now, which is fine. So they're supposed to actually be number 5.
The Jaguars?
No, Falcons.
Oh, okay. At 5?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do Jaguars as an honorable mention at this point because we're so far into it.
I mean, they are an honorable mention. I had them at 19, I think, so they didn't have a great ranking. No, I had them at 20.
Well, I guess my number 5 would be the Falcons.
Okay.
Although the Falcons didn't do too hot last year, their offensive line finished in the top 5 or 10, I believe. They will have 5 returning starters from last year we also cannot forget that there will be new faces in different positions that will help this team get back on track.
Mm-hmm. I got the Rams at 5. You talked about it earlier. I think they did a great job last year. You know, the Rams faced some controversies early on. Stafford was kind of banged up, but down the stretch, they did a good job keeping him upright, blazing holes open for Kyron Williams, who became the true number 1 back for them. And they made a playoff run. So I got the Rams at 5. Number 4, I got the Browns.
Same. That's kind of surprising. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid unit. I mean, the Browns have a solid team, really. I mean, Nick Chubb's going to be out the first 4 games of the year, but Jerome Ford is a solid backup.
I tell you what, though,
it really comes down to Deshaun Watson for the Browns, and if he can, come back to his old ways as an elite quarterback.
I tell you what, the reason why I rank Cleveland high on this list is because when they're healthy, a healthy unit this year, the line is going to be good. Last year might have had some ups and downs, but this O-line made it to the 2023 playoffs. Not to mention, they had old man Flacco at the reins of quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. They did, didn't they? Number 3, I got the Chiefs. I think they're a really good unit. They're kind of what helped make that offense go last year outside of Mahomes, in my opinion, because of the lack of production at wide receiver outside of Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco had almost 1,000 yards on the ground. And they kept Mahomes upright. He might have been scrambling out of the pocket and stuff a little more, but that's also his style of play. He's a gunslinger. He runs around. Creed Humphrey, best center in the league. A couple other studs for them. Jawan Taylor at right tackle. Joe Thuney at left guard. So they got some studs up there. Who do you got at 3?
Colts.
Nice. Yeah, they have a solid unit. I might have had them a little low at 8, but
I mean, you hit it nail in the head, like nail in the coffin there. I mean,
yeah.
They got a developing left tackle.
That's true, and like I said, I don't think Anthony Richardson's injury last year was necessarily on the offensive line. It was more on Richardson's play style.
At number 2, I have Philadelphia.
Me too. I think they'll still have, despite Jason Kelce retiring,
but
their whole group collectively, Tush Push last year was successful for a reason.
So what I wrote down is when Kelce retired last season, it was not too big of a shock that he was gonna, retire. But it was still a big loss for the Eagles. But not to worry, the backup center Cam Jurgens,
who played for Nebraska,
has shown that he can fill the shoes that Kelce once filled. What I will say is this: they can run the Philly special. People overlook the blocking that takes place when they get either a first down or a touchdown when they run that play. That's why that play happens.
Yeah, for sure. You nailed it. And I had the Lions at number 1.
Me too. And I'm not being biased because they're my team.
They're not my team, and I had them at number one.
But when people want to talk about Jared Goff's bounce back in Detroit, they seem to forget about the O-line. Sure, we lost Jackson now season, but we added, a veteran in Kevin Zelter who will fill the role well at right guard. The Lions had a great run and pass block to make some great plays, even on special teams when they would run a fake punt. Again, not being biased because Detroit is my favorite team.
There's a reason why the Lions, arguably had one of the, if not the most balanced offenses in the league last year. In terms of being able to run it, being able to throw it.
What I like
Jared Goff having all day, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs having huge holes to run through.
St. Brown and
them and the 49ers probably had the most balanced offenses in the league. But the Lions has really had a lot more to do with their line. I think good pick.
I don't think people are gonna like that, but
I don't know. I think a lot of people would agree. I think most people would have either the Lions or the Eagles at number one, and
they've had a dominant offensive line the last 2 years.
They have, and like I said, that's why they're able to kind of do whatever they want offensively, and they're so balanced because of it. They had 2 rush years. They had Montgomery who went over 1,000, and Gibbs had almost 1,000. Probably with the playoffs had over 1,000. But
what I like about Dan Campbell, he likes to use everybody.
And Jared Goff, he's got a clean pocket to throw from, because he's not a guy who's going to run all over you. He's not going to scramble a lot. He's going to sit from the pocket.
He runs like Tom Brady.
Exactly. He's a pocket passing game manager, field general. He's not Lamar. He's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen.
He's Tom Brady.
He's similar style to a Tom Brady he is. He is. He's that style. Joe Burrow's kind of similar. Joe Burrow can run a little bit better, but he needs a clean pocket to throw from, and he did that last couple of years, and it's because they have a solid offensive line.
Yeah.
So that's our Power Hour offensive line rankings. That one went quicker than most others, but
yeah, I know.
I kind of thought it would. I just think personally me, I don't have as much to talk about. I don't get quite as into it as the skill guys.
This is our first year doing it too, so next year we have a better chance to.
That's true. Yeah, there's always room for improvement, no matter what. But
so like quarterback, we could do we could look at starting quarterback and then who's his backups. That can really affect the ranking right there.
The whole quarterback room. Yeah, that's an idea. But outside of that, we got defense and special teams next. I think that'll be a fun one. And then that will wrap up our preseason Power Hour NFL rankings.
Yep. Preseason NFL. Pre-NFL kickoff.
Preseason.
Yeah. First Husker games this weekend versus UTEP.
I'm actually going to it.
Are you?
Yep.
Thought about going to it.
My sister has tickets, and she wanted to give one of them to my dad for a birthday present. My dad turned 63 last week. But he doesn't want to go, I guess, because it's supposed to be kind of hot. So I think I'm going to go with my brother probably, but it should be fun. I've never went to an opening day game.
So. I've only been to one game in my life, and
I've been to 10 games in my life, and I think I'm pretty good luck because we won 7 of them.
Well, it's UTEP.
It's UTEP.
But
you never know.
We lost to
We've
Troy.
underestimated teams before, and
we've lost to Troy.
So we lost to Georgia Southern a couple of years ago. So I think we're a lot better than we were then, but still, you never know. That was also Scott Frost era.
Did you hear Vance's predictions?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did like it. He's really optimistic, and I like to be that way too. He's got us winning. Only losing to Ohio State and USC right now. So that's a solid year for us. I
think we might lose to Oregon, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun season. I'm excited for football to be back. Definitely.
Don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias at the TNT Boys Pod, our podcast.
Check out Agent Life Media.
Yep.
Watch some of their podcasts, Touching Base,
Use Assumption,
Talking Dirt, all of them. go hit them up, give them a listen.
Hit the like we buttons, got a bit of everything.
Follow them. We got a bit of everything throughout the whole.
We are the brand. Midwest Barstool. I'm kidding. We're not. I'm not gonna say that. No. Oh man, it's just we're trying to help everybody grow. We're all in this together, and kind of honestly, was a quick podcast, was a quick episode, but that's all right.
That's probably a good thing because it's called Power Hour, not Power 2 Hour.
I know, Power and a half. But hey, if it goes over, it goes over. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm not beating myself up over it, but it was a good quick one. It's offensive line. Not the sexiest position. A lot of people want to hear about the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the receivers.
I don't think defense is going to take long either, personally. But
defense and special teams. I mean, again, it's just going to be
You want to explain how we're going to really do that?
So we're going to, as far as I understood it, we're going to rank it based on their defenses.
Yeah, and then
but then once we talk about the team, we'll talk about the defense and why we haven't ranked, and then kind of just briefly talk about their special teams.
Yeah, so like that special teams will be that same rank that we put the defense.
Right, yeah. We're not going to go, this team is ranked here in defense, but here in special teams. That's going to be hard to follow anyway. We're going to rank it based on the defenses and then also touch on their special teams. We debated doing them or not, but I feel it's a big part of the game, so we got to do it. And with the new kickoff rule, we want to.
Yeah, you also got to think too. So like, look at Detroit; they might have an okay defense, but they have a really good special teams.
I mean, the Packers, their biggest downfall the past couple of years have been their special teams. They lost the playoff game to the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers' last MVP year because of special teams.
And last year.
Kind of. Anders Carlson, yeah.
Yeah.
But
who is a special team
Jordan player. Love threw a dumb pick at the end, I'll admit it, but we'll get it together.
And shipped.
So. Okay, peace out, bye.
Peace out, bye.